everyone. This is Vijeta Shastri here. I'm part of Dexter Capital and Dexter Angels. It is an absolute privilege and honor for me to be part of this incredible episode that we're shooting, the crowd page MXR, VS Shots, and today we have both Naga Chetan and Bom, the co-founders of NAVANC. So, hi guys, thank you so much for taking the time out to join us today on this wonderful Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, hi Vijeta.
Hey,
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure to be here.
Same here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So this is going to be conversational. We're going to keep it as crisp as easy as possible.
Sure.
The audience that you remember that are going to see this would be your potential partners, your potential investors, your potential customers, and maybe potential people who want to join their hands with you. So just keep that in mind, folks, and let's have a very interesting and useful, crisp dialogue. So let me start by asking, Nagachetan and Boom, tell us more about NAVANC and maybe a little bit about you, both of you folks as well. Go for it.
Sure. I think we'll start with who we are. Like myself, I've been a career banker for the last 13, 14 years, worked extensively with secured lending, and have headed products and have headed business operations for few NBFCs and renowned NBFCs who were pioneers in their own right. And so all the while I have always been thinking that the way the fintech was progressing was extremely amazing, and then how the KYC, which was historically was done through so much of paper and pen, became completely digitized, and income statements getting digitized and so on, and therefore unsecured lending became so easy. But as a secured lender, I was always thinking, how can we make that easier? And that's how NAVANC was born. So to make it more easier, and NAVANC is in very simple terms is one India's first property credit worthiness score. So the idea is simple, that you have a CIBIL score for the customer, and you have a NAVANC score for the property. The combination of it should result in you for a secured lending for a very decisive loan amount, or the loan decisioning of a secured lending should be very quick and simple and at the click of a button. So this is the concept of what we are bringing in at NAVANC. So I will ask Byom to introduce himself.
Hey, hello everyone. Thanks, Naga. Thanks, Vijeta, for having me. I'm Byomkesh. I'm a career data scientist. I have some 8+ years of experience in this field of data science, dealing with lots of, I'll say, text data, image data, and video data. And I guess when me and Naga started discussing about NAVANC, we very well realized the importance of a lot of unstructured data that we are going to be dealing with, that too in different formats, especially when in India, land is a state subject. And that's where we started discussing and kind of got onboarded, because we very well understand the importance of technology in this space, and especially the role of machine learning and AI when it comes to scaling this to say all the different geographies in India. So yeah.
Awesome. And what does NAVANC stand for? I would love to know that.
So it has two approaches. So when we started with some 4 guys from my team where I was working as a product head, and then so it had the acronym of all those 4 guys. But then I suddenly realized, NAVANC in Sanskrit means a new number, and what we were just doing was like create a new number to the property, and then the beauty of it was like properties are always represented by a number, right? There is a door number, there is a flat number, there is a apartment number or survey number, and so this was a new number which was defining the property's credit worthiness, and that's how it was. Like it was just a kind of a miracle that happened, that we named it as NAVANC, and then it has just suited that to what we do.
That's very interesting. So I would love to get this from you folks, okay? Entrepreneurs, founders, startups, you all should love money. You all should definitely love your product that you're building. Of course, you all will love the technology that you're using. So how does it work for you folks, right? Who are your customers? What is it for them to work with you? And how are you converting customers? You just get a perspective on that.
Sure. I think customer, product, of course, first is a product, then the customer, and then the money. All 3 are important. So we can't just give any priority, because if you ask any founder, I think the priorities are not going to be there out. All three are equally prioritized. But I think at the customer front, I think customer drives the product to a large extent at the initial stage, right? Like if you are, especially we are going to work with some anchor customers who believe in us. So at this stage, like the stage we are in, our customers are, the banks and financial institutions. So we work with major NBFCs, few of the NBFCs right now, and these are, I think, some technically, very savvy NBFCs who have just trusted in the idea that we have spoken to them. I think we are absolutely in gratitude to these NBFCs who have just trusted our idea, and they're working with us and they're giving their feedback. So, so at this point in stage, we have NBFCs as our customers, and one of the largest HFCs also as our customer.
And has sales been easy? Is it because we would love to know that B2B sales is not that simple. It is tough. It takes a lot of pushback. It takes a lot of time. So how does it work for you? When I want it as crisp as possible, of course. But
yeah, I think the sales is one of the most trickiest pieces, especially in B2B, right? Like, and then when the entire world was behind the apps, and then it's everything is D2C or B2C kind of things. B2B is sometimes very monotonous and boring, and sometimes it's also like very tedious because it is driven by a lot of layers. And especially we are talking about credit, like in banks also, people know that sales is something which is very awesome to do, but credit is something which is very monotonous job, and they're always in one directional. So when we are talking to credit guys, we know that they take a lot of time, they analyze it in multiple ways, so we have to have that patience to work with them. But at the end of the day, they're all very, very focused guys. So therefore I think we love working with the credit teams and risk teams in financial institutions, and that's where we have been able to crack them. And another reason is because I have been a career banker, so I know few CXO level guys, and then they have been extremely helpful to us to see to run the POCs. So POCs are super important while it comes to customers, especially in B2B. We have to do certain POCs, and we have done successful POCs and converted them. So it, in all, on an average for us, like we have right now around 5 NBFCs working with us. So we have taken at least 4 to 5 months to convert them to a commercial run. So we have something called as Mission 100 in our in which we have built of late, where we say that because our product is built on reports, we say that we do 100 reports within 3rd month of onboarding commercially a particular customer. So therefore, there is in us to drive so that we go to multiple locations, multiple branches, multiple states if possible, and then scale up. Honestly, I think.
Yeah, Manasri, you want to pitch in? Please come in.
So I just wanted to ask that since team is a very important part of every startup, so why is the team uniquely capable of executing the plan that you have in mind? Team
I
you're
think
currently working with.
Yeah, so I think team is the fourth pillar, like what we spoke about, customer, product, and capital. The 4th pillar is the team, and you know how hard it is, like in these times, especially because we are like when we speak to tech guys, right? There are so many layoffs around the startup ecosystem, even in the MNCs and other things. So it has become a double-edged sword. Like for example, even if we say that we are well capitalized, and then we can you come and join us, this is an interesting product. They say it's an interesting product, but they are they feel that joining a startup is too risky. So the young guys have started feeling that. So therefore, it is very important to build a team which is having that ownership mentality in themselves. So we look for that, and then we look for people who look at challenges and are able to take risks along with us, and therefore it is going to be rewarding for them also. So we have all sorts of people in our team. So we have a Sanskrit teacher who got converted himself into a customer success manager in our team, right? And it has worked out very well. So some principles have borrowed it from ICICI Bank, my first organization where I worked. So there were a lot of pharma guys who were working in banking then over then. I think it is it was one of the HR policies that they had, that they will get people across sectors and not look at only bankers, and it worked out very well. So I also said that, okay, we will take people from arts, and we'll also see whether they can do some, sales is an art, right? And especially so we have used such kind of things. And we have also in tech, I think we have used 2 to 3 years experience guys and trusted them, and we have given that. And we have also used interns a lot. Interns from, like, we have used from BITS Goa, some couple of IITs and other things, which has really helped us well. Like some are like super talented guys even at intern level, right? So this is
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you so much. And it was an interesting question to ask also, Manasvi.
Thank you.
So one thing that we would love to understand, you're working with a lot of customers, you said NBFCs. What is the pushback? What is the challenges? And what are the kind of queries that you have to handle, whether from the tech point of view or from the delivery point of view? If you can just give a simple overview around that, and this is something that, Boom and Naga, you can break it up between the two of you.
Sure. I think I will start, and Guillaume, please feel free to add points, especially the tech side.
Sure.
I think the first point is who is our point of contact in the NBFC, and how do we pitch them? So we have got 3 products: NAVANC Lite, which is actually used at the origination stage, then Valet, which is at the credit assessment stage, and NAVANC is also at credit assessment stage. Now, typically being a startup, not every product is super ready to be used in the market, and so therefore there are certain aspects that needs to be developed along with the customer. So in Valet, we give that option that they can work with us, and then they for example, because Valet has a lot of valuation report, legal reports, so every banks and NBFCs have their own methods of reporting and all such things. So we are quite agile there, so we just keep the option, and we can work with them. In NAVANC Lite and NAVANC, since we want to build it as a product, like something like a CIBIL for properties or something like that, so we want to be super conservative in asking their feedback, but we will definitely value the feedback. So one of the challenges that comes up is, like, whenever we demo NAVANC Lite or NAVANC, they have their own thought process that they would want to have a property score in this way, right? So so they give a lot of feedback on that. Is there a ownership detail on this? Is there something else that we could fetch from the government records? Is there a valuation bit on this? So on and so forth. So therefore, we validate each of those feedback, and we also have a kind of roadmap to the product, which helps them understand why it is not there at present, and what do we think will happen to this kind of parameters in the next few months, right? And not every parameter could come on this particular product. So that is how we try to convince them. So it is also interesting to so within bank there are 4 pillars that we work with. Like, there is a business team, there is a credit team, there is a risk team, and then there is a collections team. So all of them see the product, and all of them have different views. So we will when we see the NBFCs and look at the kind of people who are there, so we will try to read their mind and see what could definitely fit. Now, whether NAVANC Lite fits here or Valet fits here, NAVANC fits here. So we start with that first particular fitment of our product, and then try to hook on the rest of the other products. Like, for example, with one of the known lenders, APAC, we started with Valet. So now we are trying to experiment them with NAVANC Lite. So that's how we start. So because there is some confidence that is built in our system, in our product initially, and then I think post that they will also buy in other products as well. So that's how we go. I think on tech side, Guillaume, if you could highlight.
Yeah, so on technology side, there are I'll say many important questions which we get asked, but then I'll talk about the 2 most important ones, especially the kind of product that we are trying to build. So if you see here at NAVANC, the different products that we have, this is not only we are acquiring a lot of data, but then what we are trying to do is we're trying to make the data more actionable. Okay, and what happens is the moment we try to say most of our products are where actually we are trying to make it more actionable, and then what happens is like we'll have to have multiple proof points. Means, say if we wanna replace some existing mental model of all these bankers, of course we need, say through our data-driven product, so we need to have those proof points. So that is very crucial, and that's where we need to do a lot of benchmarking. We'll have to marry, like say our actionable, our results with what exactly is there in the system. Then we do a lot of comparison. So that's one. The second part is, since we are in an industry which is say very much regulated and we deal with a lot of important data points, so it's very crucial that okay, we have a system which is secure, scalable, okay. And then many important, many a time what happens is, there are so many customer engagements which we can't do even if we have a good product, but then say the backend architecture or your deployment is not secure. So that's also a very important aspect here. So yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. So the next aspect that I would love to touch base on is that, okay, you told me about your customers who you're working on. Where do you stand in terms of funding? Are you looking for funding, bootstrapped, and is something going on that front as well?
I think most of our founders are never, shy from asking for funds, right? Like, I think we are all thought to be shameless and approaching everybody. So, of course, we have been quite blessed. I must say that, who's who of the fintech world have given some angel funding, and then we are obviously looking out for funds to do the seed round. So we have done the angel round of around 300K USD, which helped us get some tech guys and get the MVP product running. And then this was participated by QED Innovations Lab, which is headed by Kunal Shah. Then Chatanathan, who's a co-founder of Arya.ag, one of the prominent agri-fintech companies in the country, most likely the only profitable agri-fintech company. Then Samit Shetty, who was the former CEO of Navi FinServe. And then Subramania SV, who is the co-founder of Fisdom. And a few techies from US. So all these guys put in money, and then they helped us, start our team and such things. So, but right now we are thinking to raise 1.5 to 2 million, a seed round. And we are looking at partners who understand this space. That thesis should be that they should understand this property-led and especially property-led lending and secured lending, which is a new animal in the whole ecosystem, right? Like everybody is gaga about the unsecured bit, right? So which is the flavor as of now in the fintech industry. But I think sooner or later, I think secured lending will definitely catch up. So people, we would require funds from such VCs. We want to do an institutional round now. So therefore, VCs who understand B2B and then secured lending space and help us build something which is very credible on an India stack kind of a model.
Excellent. Manasvi, you want to come in with something?
Yes, sir. One question I had. Which competitor, according to you, is doing the best job in your domain, and why do you think that they're doing? Who do you think is your biggest competition, and what are they doing differently? Have you, if
Yeah, I think very tough question. So PropTech FinTech cusp is something which is very new, and I think there are 3 to 4 companies who have been doing that. And we also have a demonstrated differentiation between them and us. But the guys who have been doing very well on that front is one company which I would name is Matram. So Matram is a Chennai-based startup which does legal due diligence for companies. And I was part of Vistar, so I've seen their report, and they have been they have grown exceptionally well, and they have now grown up from say 1 state to I think now they're doing almost 5 to 6 states, if I'm right. So they are a close competition when it comes to the aspects of property due diligence. Right, and then another company is a good CEO is a good friend of mine, and then that is Terra Analytics Limited. So an exceptionally good economist, and then the product is also quite good. So I have used that product myself at Navi. Again, it is also on legal due diligence, and it's more cursory view of a property and other things, right? So these are our closest competitors. There is no competitor as of now when it comes to mapping the valuation bit of it and the legal bit of it both. So there is nobody who's doing comprehensive property assessment that what a banker wants. So I being a career banker, so I am trying to map the mind of a credit manager to a score. So that's what is the differentiator for us.
That's amazing. That's definitely the insights that I needed from because you definitely need to find what other companies are doing since there are a lot of similar products outside.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was it.
And also they are also B2C. Many of them are B2C. And then we have stuck to become a B2B company for 2-3 reasons. One is that legitimacy and credibility is what is required in this domain, because especially when we are talking about property, this is sooner or later, these are all things which will come into the data security aspects of the customer. So because everybody are so closely attached to the property that we own or property that we buy, right? Like not every Tom, Dick and Harry should know about where my property is, and then what's the value of this property, and so on and so forth. So that is very super important that we build something which is legitimate and credible. And second thing is that since this is going to be used mostly by banks at many of the times, like, so I as a customer either buy home or I mortgage my home for my business purposes, or I mortgage my home for debt consolidation and so on. So when I see that data, this should not be some other number which is there in their mind. Okay, ye bhi ek hai. So it should not be that kind of a number. NAVANC should not be such kind of a number to the banker. So that is why we have kept it as a B2B, because we only want to work with the legitimate scoring of the property.
Great, thanks so much. And now, as we kind of draw to a close of the conversation, I would like to cover this aspect about what you're planning to do. We are sitting in the third week of March. Okay, so say 6 months to 1 year. Apart from the funding that you spoke about, what are the other aspects that you're working on? What are you building towards? What would be your next steps? How many more customers do you want to get in? Are you hiring? And just let us know a little bit about that as well, please.
Yeah. So I think as we started in January 2022, we started with some 0 customers. Today, we are happy that we are closing March 2023 with 5 NBFCs onboarded to us, and then all of them generating some reports from us and all such things. So therefore, first thing is to go deeper with these NBFCs and go to multiple states, and states which are feasible for us to go and expand, both with terms of technology side, because property is a land subject, land is a state subject, and then technology of land records is as per those particular states. So therefore, there are states like Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, which are fairly advanced in their documentation of land records as compared to many other states, right? So how do we go is also one of those questions, and that depends upon both the government records that we have and also the banks that we have, the NBFCs that we work with. So that is one thing. So go deeper with the existing customers and acquire more data. So we give more comprehensive, like we have around 65 parameters that we have envisaged in NAVANC, which is built on 5 indices. That is, one is called as geospatial index, where we are completely having all data today. Then there is marketability index. We have say 50 to 60% of parameters covered there. Mortgageability index, where around 50% of the parameters covered there. We have a livability index. And so all these things we require more and more data, as Vyom said. More and more benchmarking is also required. So say that this is what the score means. Like today we know 700 CIBIL score is the best. So the next aim is to establish by the next end of next year what is that best NAVANC score that anybody can just say that this is the best score that I can get for NAVANC, and over which I can process this property blindly. Okay, so that is benchmarking is where we want to head to, at least in a couple of states, right? So that is the next thing. Of course, the bigger vision that which I wanted to talk is, today credit managers ask, have you done legal and technical on property? But I think the nirvana state for us would be, have you done NAVANC on property? So that is where we want to head to. So have you done NAVANC on property should be the question that the credit manager be asking his guys, rather than asking, have you done legal, have you done technical, and all. So that is where we want to head to, at least in at least in 1 or 2 NBFCs. That should be the terminology that we should replace, is what we are aiming. Of course, building the team is going to be one thing which is goes without saying. So I think we will be expanding team, at least the tech team. Operations team is quite sufficient. Once technology is predominantly taking over, I think we will have a lean operations team and a good tech team.
Excellent. So we covered funding. We talked about expanding the team. We talked about how your branding you want to get into that. Like, have you done a NAVANC on the property? Have you done a NAVANC on the asset, etc., etc.? So fantastic. I think that's a very fair ambition also to have home and NAVANC, right? And it's I think the way that you guys are envisioning it, I'm sure you'll see the success as well.
Sure.
So
thanks, Vijeta.
one aspect that I want to also talk to you about, right? See, the landscape is changing all the time.
Yeah.
Policy is changing, technology is changing. So how do you research work? How do you make sure that you are aware of what could go right, what could go wrong, and you're preparing yourself? Because you can't just stay immersed only in what you're doing or you're building. Once in a while, you got to step up and look around you.
Absolutely.
So how do you guys do that? Would love to know that.
Sure. I think it's a very fast-moving environment on both sides, right? Both on the domain side and also on the technology side. Like now, in technology, we have chat GPTs of the world coming, and generative AI is coming, and also so on and so forth. So therefore, Dome is always at it, looking at the best of the best papers, and then looking at the WhatsApp groups of the tech forums, and then seeing what's happening in the technology field. In the same time, like, for us, it's regulator, it's actually the statutory laws that are going to come in, and then how the NBFCs and banks are behaving, and how the competition is behaving. So all these four aspects, I think we have 3 monthly once a very deep dive strategy meeting as of now with some 4 to 5 of us who keep reading about it, and then who keep coming back to us with kind of the data, the inputs. Like, for example, data security bill, right? So immediately the draft was launched, I went through it. I went and spoke to a few lawyers, and I said, so this is what we do, and how is it going to impact? And then we got certain help from the ecosystem, right? Like there are like people like Spice Root Legal, DSK Legal, very renowned legal associates in the ecosystem, who helped us with workshops and this one. So this is how we go about doing it. And then we are in constant touch with RBI Innovations Hub. So therefore, we also know about what is that happening in that particular ecosystem. So we have a couple of advisors like who come from the experience of dealing with RBI, and then this. So therefore, they are always like helping us to keep our eyes and ears wide open to the statutory and regulatory norms that are coming in, which is very important, right? Like, especially in a sector that we work in, we are bound to evolve.
And I'll quickly add to what just Naga said, say the kind of stage that we are in, as in we are going to be occupied with so many important things. Okay, and it's very important that, of course, we keep ourselves updated. And that's where, it's not only about the platform, it's also about following the right people or the right channel. Okay, that is what is really at least helping me personally. As in, there are multiple platforms. As in, I follow people on Twitter, then there is LinkedIn as well. There is a lot of tech influencers on Twitter. And there is so much information around, and it's very, as in, there's pros and cons. Pros is you are always updated. There is always something happening, and there is always someone who is sharing something important. But the cons is, if you are not in the right channel or right group, or say if you're not following right people, there is some misleading information out there as well. Okay, and from a technology perspective, what becomes really crucial is, many a time what happens is, see, we are building technology for future. What I mean by that is, what you're doing today might impact you, say, in down the line 6 months or 1 year, and that's where having some important platform, important strategy becomes very important. And so, yeah, as in, it's about the platform, and then you follow the right people, that will take care of everything. The good thing is, in India, now I guess I feel, as in past 2-3 years, I have seen, and the startup community is very aggressive. As in, you have people who is very bullish about everything, and they are, and the community is also very much, I'll say, sharing in nature. As in, they don't hide, or they don't keep something only themselves. So that's also a good thing too. Yeah.
And thanks to people like Tai, like Vijayta himself is there, and then so many people who share the knowledge to the open forum, right? Like that's helping us a lot.
That's wonderful. Manasvi, is there something that you would like to ask?
So, actually, great insights. Even I do find it very hard to, because since there are a lot of information in the internet, so it's very hard to, stay updated with respect to latest fintech. And it's not a very, a small thing. It's about your finance. So, who to trust and how to trust. I think that is one of the, you have chosen a very, different domain, but at the same time, it's a little risky. But I think the way you really presented your startup, if you keep keeping the same energy, I think it'll definitely be very helpful. And I
Thank you so
really
much,
got
Manasvi.
a lot of great insights from this, definitely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So, we covered your hiring plans, your expansion, the way you're working with the RBI folks who are looking at innovation. You're talking about the ecosystem and the hiring, and of course, how you're going to grow your company. You want to bring in more people, more customers. You're expanding your geographies, India, and maybe even beyond, if that works. And it's also encouraging to know from Boom and Naga that there is support being given to the founders, which is all the more
Absolutely.
important. I think some of the things that we do know about the KDM is having this fintech hub beyond Bangalore, and there's a lot of support being given to founders to grow. I wish you all the best for your fundraise as well. Please, we shall have a separate conversation on that.
Sure.
And yes, associations like TIE Bangalore, the great team, and the fintech, the special interest group, which Sandhya is there. I'm part of that working group as well. We're trying to help founders. So thank you. And to all the folks who are watching, keep giving the love, help NAVANC. They want to grow, spread the word out, let them make lots of money and grow, because they'll be hiring as well, and creating jobs, creating employment, creating wealth is
Absolutely.
something that is so critical in today's community ecosystem. And fantastic. So thank you, Vinay. Thank you, Manasvi. And let's stay in touch, folks. All the very best.